What's good with y'all boys? Welcome back to another episode of Random Everything Sports Podcast. Today we're going to break down the Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. Now, in this video I'm going to talk about the Lions side of things, the Bucs side of things, and what these two teams can do to be successful and come out with a victory. Now, the line is currently the Lions minus 6.5. Now, this team is playing at home. They're super good at home. So we're saying neutral site, Lions about 3 point favorites are about 3 points better than the Bucs. On paper, Vegas would think that. Now for the Lions, Jared Goff playing in a dome. We'd love to see that. Tiny hands, Jared Goff in a dome, exceptional. In other inclement weather, not so much. But he's in a dome. That's where they play. He plays exceptional at home because it's a dome, controlled weather. He's just not a good player outside of that dome. So that's what the Lions have going for them. Also, their run game is good. Last game, David Montgomery had 57 yards. He had 40 in the first quarter. So that definitely slowed down. And Jameer Gibbs had 25. So they do have capable running backs. But last game wasn't much of a running game for them. But the Rams, D-line is very good with Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, all those guys. So, you can't expect those guys to go crazy. But their defense needs to step up. Their defense has been getting better. It really has. Earlier in the year and even towards the end of the year, they were bad. But lately, past couple games, they've been playing better. They have. Their red zone defense was huge for them last week against the Rams. And that was the reason why they won. It was because of their red zone defense. The Lions were putting up touchdowns, and the Rams were held to, I think, 3 field goals. Yeah, the Lions held the Rams to 3 field goals, and a couple of those were inside the 20-yard line, so they were in the red zone. But the red zone defense was the reason why they won that game. And if it's okay to bend and not break, that's bending. That's really bending, giving up those field goals. But that's the biggest thing: bend it but don't break. Trade off 3 and 3 for 7, and that's what they did, and that's why they were successful. Now for Dan Campbell, his decision making I thought was pretty good last week against the Rams. I think it was, but we've seen his decision making get the best of him. We look at the game, the Thanksgiving game. He goes for a fake, an awful fake that he admitted after the game. Hey, I probably shouldn't have done that. Look at the Cowboys game. They would look to be a converted 2-point conversion. Gets called back. He goes for it again, interception. Gets called back, and then he goes for another 2-point conversion from the 7-yard line. I think that was just a poor decision, but he had a good, Listen, there's no doubt he's a great coach, but his decision making can be a bit questionable at times. But last week, I thought he coached great, like he always does. But most importantly, he had great decisions, I feel like. Now, to talk about the Bucs side of things, man. Baker Mayfield playing very well. Coming off a game where they dominated the Eagles. Just purely dominated them through and through. Baker Mayfield, 22-36, 337 yards. 3 touchdowns, ran for 16 yards. Just all around playing amazing. Had a 115 rating, or 119 rating. That's just a game where they played amazing. They did. Rashad White had 72 yards on the ground, 18 carries. They were doing everything right. And the crazy thing is they didn't even have any turnovers, but they just dominated that game through and through. The receivers played excellent. With the YAG attack yards after the catch and things like that. But the biggest thing for me is how good was that win? I don't think it was that good. We're talking about a team who's lost 6 out of their last 7, had a close game against the Giants they could have lost, then ended up losing to the Giants and to the Cardinals. So how good was this team? How good was this team that they beat? Listen, I wasn't high on the Bucs. I did not think they were going to win this game. I was taking the Eagles minus 2.5. Terrible bet, of course, but hindsight's 20/20. I took the Eagles in this game because this Bucs team only beat a terrible Panthers team by 9 points. Was a lot closer than we thought. They haven't been beating good teams. Their best win of the season, still, even considering that the Eagles weren't that good, was the Saints. This team hasn't beaten any good teams really. And they haven't looked good until last week. They looked amazing last week. They did. But, before then they weren't looking good. They've got a solid defense. The way to beat Jared Goff is blitzing him. Jared Goff when they played the Rams, when he wasn't pressured, he was 20 of 20. When he was pressured, he was 1 out of 6. And one of those was when he threw it behind his head. I mean, terrible play from him, but that was one of the two. The key to throwing off Jared Goff and essentially ending this Lions offense is pressuring Jared Goff. Now, I do understand all quarterbacks are not near as good as they are when they have a clean pocket when they're pressured. But Jared Goff is exceptionally worse. He really is. He's terrible when he's pressured. And the good thing for the Bucs is they have a top 3 blitz rate. Todd Bowles, he loves to heat up the quarterback. He loves to send those blitzes. Even with Brady, he loves to heat up the quarterback and speed that clock up and force him into bad decisions. Now, the way that these teams can win this game, I just talked about it for the Bucs. Blitz, blitz, blitz. You have to heat up Jared Goff. You have to force him into making bad decisions because he will do so. If you are able to get pressure on him, he'll do so. You know? Yeah, you're going to have to take a risk. Yeah, you're going to have to put Winfield on an island. You're going to have to put these guys on an island. But if your blitz can get there, you'll be all right. Now, the Lions do have a good offensive line, so it's not often that you can get a good blitz on him. But I think if there's a team to do it, I think Todd Bowles and his defense can blitz him and put pressure on him. And if they do, they'll have a great chance of being successful. Now, for the Lions, it's the opposite. Protect Jared Goff. Give him time to throw and make plays, and he'll play exceptionally well. I mean, you look at what he did to the Lions, or to the Rams. He played amazing in that game. I mean, listen, the numbers aren't eye-popping, but 22 of 27. Wow, come to think about it, the only incompletions he had was when he was pressured. 5 incompletions. 22 of 27. But 22 of 27, 277 and 1 touchdown. I mean, listen, this guy, when he's not pressured, he can play with anybody. He looks amazing. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Lions. Protect Jared Goff and you'll be successful. Now, for my game prediction, I am taking the Lions. I'm still not that high on the Buccaneers. I don't think that they're that great of a team still. I think they were, got lucky with a team playing terrible, the worst they played in years in the Eagles. And they took advantage of it like they should, playing at home. But if they're going to Detroit in that dome where Jared Goff plays exceptionally well, with those Lions fans coming off their first playoff win in 32 years, which they could be on a little bit of a letdown, but I don't think so. I think they're going to keep riding that wave, and I'm taking the Lions to win 30-21. That's my game predictions, man. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure y'all subscribe. Down at the bottom, it's one click, completely free. But man, I appreciate y'all watching. As always, tune in next time. Peace.